Along with those few UI elements, you can see here it has a custom clock, and it actually ships with a few custom clock widgets, and they look pretty nice. You can see there's a couple of analog, or 3 analog clock options, and then there's few digital clock options. They look great. There's different sizes, kind of different designs, so I like that element. There's a flashlight widget. It uses the flash from the camera. You know, again, you could download that from the market, but not everyone knows that, or, you know, maybe it would take them a little while to figure it out. And the flash is very bright. Whenever I used it as a flashlight, it actually lit up an entire room. Then you have a memo pad widget, which is very nice. I always like it when phones come with that. And then here you can see kind of spread throughout are the widgets for pedometer and moonrise, moonset. That has to do with G's gear, which I'll get into in just a minute after I finish with these widgets. Power control and weather. The weather widget is actually kind of interesting because it not only tells you the weather for the current day and the next day, but it also tells you what to wear. So for today, it says I should wear a t-shirt because it's hot and humid outside. So that's kind of interesting. Now, I mentioned earlier the G's gear. G's gear is one of the things that really sets this phone apart. I mean, for the most part, I think a lot of people would assume that a rugged phone like this is really just made for, you know, construction workers, contractors, people who work outside. But to me, I really think that it's great for those kind of people because, you know, yeah, it's durable. But I think it'd be best suited for people that travel a lot, you know, maybe go camping, backpacking. If you consider yourself a world traveler, this phone I think would be perfect for you. Now, you know, there might not be that many people out there, and several of the people watching this video, you may not be that kind of person, but they are out there. And so I think this phone is really targeted towards them, or at least it should be. So, and G's gear. G's gear is a thing that really sets this phone apart. So you can see some of the widgets here. We'll also just go to the G's gear suite itself. So you can see it comes with these apps: Earth Compass, Walking Counter, Adventure Training, Trip Memory, Thermometer, Tides, Sun, Moon, and Stargazer. These are all very well designed and very useful, and they also have their own widgets. So the Earth Compass is obviously a compass. Along with having just a normal compass, you can add different layers to it. So here it will direct you to certain landmarks, certain national parks, and you can see it's a very detailed compass. I mean, these apps aren't just, you know, cheap little toy apps they came up with as just a gimmick, but they're very well designed. The thermometer, it actually pulls the temperature from a thermometer inside the phone. It doesn't just pull it from the internet or from the web. This is a thermometer in the phone. So right now, you know, where it is, the phone, it's actually 86.9 degrees. So, you know, very detailed. And then of course these from other cities, that's pulling it from the internet. Adventure Training, you can set different pre-programmed treks, and then it will simulate the path for you. Tides, you're pretty self-explanatory. Sun, Moon tells you detailed information about times for the sunrise, sunset, and then moonrise and the moonset. Stargazer, Google has an app for this, but, you know, again, it just comes preloaded on the phone. Again, pretty self-explanatory. You just point it up at the sky and it'll show you the constellations. I use this and it's actually pretty cool. I learned a lot. I had no idea that there were so many constellations just within my, you know, view of where I live. So that was pretty interesting. But the G's gear, all of these apps are very well designed, and you can see some of the widgets here. This is a pedometer, the sunrise, sunset, the information there, the tides widget. You can pick different locations, virtual trek, and then here's the Earth Compass widget. You just tap it to turn it on. And then the flashlight widget. So, you know, these are very useful. And I think really, if you're, again, a world traveler, or you just travel a lot outdoors, I think these apps, are really great for that kind of person. Now, this is a 3G device, again on Verizon's network, and overall I got pretty good 3G speeds. It uses EVDO Rev A for 3G data, and for the most part, download speeds, I averaged about 1 to 2 megabits per second, and then for uploads, it hovered just under 1 megabit per second, usually around 800 or 900 kilobits. So, pretty impressive, and definitely, average 3G speeds, but I mean, the fact that you get average 3G speeds, I think is impressive in itself. Another nice thing you can see here, the phone can also be a 3G mobile hotspot. Now, of course, you'll have to pay for that, for data, but you do have that option, so that's pretty nice. Okay, so on the back of the phone here we have the camera. It's a 5 megapixel camera, autofocus, and it has an LED flash. I was pretty impressed by the camera. It does capture video, WVGA, which is 480p video. The video actually came out a lot clearer than I expected. Sound still wasn't that great, but the video itself was, definitely a lot clearer. Again, still nothing to brag about, but, better than other phones that I've tested with the same video capture resolution. Pictures were, not terrible, but again, not anything amazing. I mean, it was about what I expected. It's a decent 5 megapixel camera. I did have problems with the dedicated camera button. If we load up the camera here, it does have a dedicated camera button. While I'm here, interestingly, the LED light, the notification light, is here on the right side of the device instead of where it usually is, on the front, somewhere right here. I don't know why they did that, and it's sometimes harder to see because, it's on the right, or it's on the side, but you can see it's also a little bit bigger than most notification lights, so the light is a little brighter, a little bigger, so that kind of helps out and makes up for the weird location. But again, I don't know why they decided to do that, but it's right there. So camera, I did have some problems with the dedicated camera button. It seems like no matter how still or how steady I held the phone whenever pushing the button, the picture would always come out blurry, as if pushing this button caused a jolt to the phone. And I would keep it steady, I would push it slowly so there was no movement, and still every single time the photo would come out blurry. And so, after a while I just resorted to using the on-screen shutter key because, obviously it's not going to give you that problem. So kind of frustrating there. I don't know if maybe that was just the device or maybe the way I take pictures, but it was definitely frustrating that anytime I use a dedicated camera key, the picture always came out blurry. You can see here it's pretty much just the stock Android camera interface. You have different effects. Again, it does come with a flash. And the video capture was pretty impressive, again, like I said. So underneath the battery cover here, we have obviously the battery. You have to slide to unlock it just to make sure everything stays waterproof. If we take this off, maybe. We have the battery. Underneath the battery is a micro SD card slot. Kind of disappointing or frustrating that you have to take out the battery in order to change the card, but I mean, you can understand why. In order for it to stay completely protected if it is in water or dirt, it's usually safer to just, probably put it under the battery. So the phone actually ships with an 8 gigabyte card, which is pretty sizable for a phone that, you would typically consider just a, standard mid-range phone that's really durable. But, you'll find with the specs, the processor, the camera, memory, display, it's actually, and at least for me, it exceeded my expectations and was a much better phone than I thought it would be. But it does ship with an 8 gig card, supports up to 32 gigs. This battery right here is a 1460 milliamp hour battery. Great battery life. On standby, it lasted about 2 days, which is pretty impressive. Usually Android phones, even on standby, usually only last like 1 day or 1.5 days. And so Casio's estimates are you should get 7.5 hours of straight talk time, and so those estimates, this should easily give you at least a day of standard use, especially since it lasted 2 days on standby. So battery life was pretty impressive. And then again, it's nice that it ships with that 8 gigabyte card. The phone itself has 329 megs of internal memory, so the 8 gig card is definitely going to help. Okay, so lastly, I want to talk about the keyboard. I should have talked about this earlier when I was talking about Casio's custom design elements, but I forgot to. So you saw it earlier when I was in the messaging interface. This is the keyboard. It works a lot like Swipe. You know, slide through the keys in order to type out a word. So the quick brown fox is tired of being used for tests. Yeah, I'd be tired of being used too. So, you know, it basically works like Swipe. It's not a great keyboard. Whenever I was using it, I had to type slower, whether I was using it, you know, sliding through the keys, or you can also use it as two-thumb typing if you like. But I had to type slower and be more careful because, you know, the autocorrect function, it just doesn't work very well. And the worst part is that this is the only keyboard that comes with the phone. It doesn't even come with the Android keyboard. Now, of course, you can download other keyboards from the market, but just, you know, the fact that this is the only keyboard it comes with, very disappointing. If it were a better keyboard, then I wouldn't mind so much. But even so, you know, most Android phones come with the Android keyboard. I'm not sure why they decided not to do that. But, you know, that being said, it's not a great keyboard. And so kind of disappointing there. You can test it out and see if you like it. But for me, the autocorrect, it just wasn't that great. And I would recommend downloading an alternate keyboard. You can get the Android keyboard. You can download the new Android Gingerbread keyboard from the market, so you may even want to do that. But that's Casio's keyboard, kind of disappointing. So that is pretty much it, guys. It's a Casio G'zOne Commando from Verizon Wireless. Overall, I'm pretty impressed with it, and I think it's the perfect phone for people who are outside a lot, whether it's because you work outside or you just travel a lot. I think it'd be great for those people. So, Casio Commando from Verizon. Thanks, guys, for watching. I'm Sydney. If you have any other questions, you can follow me on Twitter. My screen name is It's My Job to Know. I'll also be reading the comments for this video, so if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them if I can. But that's it. For more news and reviews, keep it on phonedog.com. Thanks for watching this review. I'm Sydney, and I'll see you guys later.